Good evening. You're tuning in to AWANI Tonight with me, Cynthia Ng. The government plans to make Kuala Lumpur a regional hub for startup companies and the digital industry. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli said this is a part of the government's effort to boost Malaysia's digital economic activities. Rafizi highlighted that making Kuala Lumpur a regional hub for startups and the digital industry could attract investment and create high-paying jobs for the people. Part of the efforts include strengthening existing industries like semiconductors, manufacturing, oil and gas and commodities, taking them to the higher value chain level. Additionally, Rafizi emphasized the involvement of strategic sectors such as energy transition towards renewable energy, the digital economy and food security in this plan. To ensure effective implementation, his ministry is collaborating with other ministries to streamline processes and improve the overall digital infrastructure. Malaysia attracted approved investments worth 71.4 billion ringgit in the first quarter of 2023. According to Malaysian Investment Development Authority (MIDA), a total of 1,265 projects have been approved. These investments are expected to generate nearly 24,000 new job opportunities across various sectors.
MIDA, in a statement on Monday, said the country continues to capture more foreign direct investments (FDI) than domestic direct investments (DDI). FDI contributed 37.5 billion ringgit, representing 52.5% of the total approved investments. Meanwhile, DDI accounted for 33.9 billion ringgit. The top 5 states that attracted a significant portion of approved investments for the first quarter were Kuala Lumpur with 21.8 billion ringgit, followed by Johor 10.6 billion ringgit, Selangor 7.4 billion ringgit, Perak 7.1 billion ringgit, and Sabah 6.3 billion ringgit. In terms of sector, the services sector drew the lion's share of approved investments at 53.6 billion ringgit, with over 12,000 job opportunities. This was followed by the manufacturing sector at 15.6 billion ringgit, with over 11,900 new jobs, and the primary sector with 2.2 billion ringgit. The Ministry of Domestic Trade and Costs of Living clarified that it has never issued any order for retailers to limit the sale of sugar to their customers. Its Secretary General, Dato' Azman Muhammad Yusof, said, based on the ministry's discussion with sugar producers, a supply 42,000 metric tons of standard sugar every month was already promised to meet the needs of the whole nation.
Azman was asked to comment on an incident where some outlets in Bintulu had allegedly limited the purchase of sugar to 2 packets per customer. He said it could be the case that retailers do not have sufficient stock to meet the demands of their customers. While admitting that there were some issues with sugar shortages in Peninsular Malaysia before this, he said his ministry seldom received any feedback from other states with regards to insufficient supply of sugar. He advised for consumers who come across any shortage in sugar supply to report the matter to the ministry immediately.
The Public Works Department will vet contractors who want to be involved in the construction of health facilities to avoid sick projects. Deputy Works Minister Datuk Sri Abdul Rahman Mohamad said that there are currently 166 projects related to the construction of health facilities, but 24 of them have been delayed due to the majority of the contractors involved not having experience in this area. Of the 24 contractors undertaking the SIG projects, 22 of them were found to have no experience in such construction. Therefore, Rahman said contractors who will be involved in the construction of health facilities must have the experience in the construction of such facilities after this. Earlier, Rahman said the Works Ministry will consider a proposal to limit the granting of new licenses to contractors of various classes following complaints voiced by several parties and contractors' associations. They say that because there were so many licenses being approved, many missed out on job opportunities in the sector. Rahman said the ministry would bring a proposal to the cabinet since the matter is under its supervision through the Construction Industry Development Board or CIDB. The Youth and Sports Ministry (KBS) said today that the 20 million ringgit allocation for the construction of a drag racing track in every state was never debated nor approved in Parliament. In a statement, it said that the allocation proposed by the previous government in Budget 2023 was never channeled to the ministry since the last Parliament was dissolved or after the budget was tabled.
The statement was issued in response to former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri's request last Wednesday for the government through KBS to proceed with the proposal. According to KBS, the budget was announced without receiving feedback from the ministry and that the 20 million ringgit was insufficient for the construction of a drag racing track in every state. KBS, however, gave its assurance that motorsports events will continue to be held in a controlled and safe environment, despite the current financial constraints preventing the construction of new circuits. The ministry said it is currently improving existing facilities, such as the Sepang International Circuit and the Tangkak Racing Track in Johor.
The Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM 2022 examination results will be announced on Thursday, June 8th. The Education Ministry said that candidates can check their results starting from 10 a.m. on June 8th to 6 p.m. on June 14th. It added that candidates could also check their results via myresult.spm.moe.gov.my. Meanwhile, the result slips of private candidates will be sent to them by post, or the candidates can contact the State Education Department where they registered for the examination. A total of 403,637 candidates sat for the SPM examinations last year at 3,355 centres nationwide. We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Engkau adalah yang terunggul. Apabila kau hidup untuk detik gemilang ni, kau sedia untuk menggalah segala bebanan dan bertekad untuk menjadi harapan untuk semua.
Nak maju ke depan, rambut gugur tak boleh jadi penghalang. Pantene Hair Fall Control dengan provitamin dan biotin seperti menambah vitamin pada setiap helaian rambut untuk rambut sehingga 100% lebih kuat terhadap rambut gugur. Rambut kuat macam saya.
Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has called for an early general election on July 23rd after his party suffered setbacks in local and regional polls. In a televised address, he said that he has informed the King of Spain of his decision to dissolve Parliament. Sanchez said the results from Sunday's local elections showed that there was doubt over the direction of his government. The leading Spanish Socialist Workers' Party lost control of 6 regions during the polls, while rival Conservative People's Party outperformed. Spain was due to hold general elections by December after Sanchez completes his 4-year term. The July election now means that the vote will be held just 3 weeks after Spain takes over the rotating presidency of the Council of the European Union. South Korea is joining the ranks as major arms exporter as Russia's invasion of Ukraine triggers a global race in acquiring weapons. It recently finalized a massive arms deal with Poland worth a staggering $13.7 billion. Now, this deal marks a significant milestone for both nations as it is the largest arms agreement South Korea has ever made.
According to its defense ministry, South Korea's arms sales surpassed $17 billion in 2022. That's more than double the sales from the previous year. European countries have been increasing their defense spending to counter the Russian threat. The surge in arms exports comes at a time of escalating tensions in several hotspots around the world, including North Korea, the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea. However, there are growing concerns that American arms manufacturers may struggle to meet the rising demand due to supply chain issues and labour shortages. While Germany, another major arms manufacturer, has yet to deliver any of the 44 new Leopard tanks Hungary ordered in 2018.
Countries' interest in South Korea's offer may only grow considering the limited production capacity of Germany's defense industry, which is a major arms supplier in the region. For example, in 2018, Hungary has ordered 44 Leopard tanks from Germany, and so far none has been delivered.
South Korean weapons makers are ready to step in and fill this gap. Their advanced systems have been designed to easily integrate with NATO and support joint operations with US forces. President Yoon Suk-yeol, who took office in May, set the goal last month of becoming one of the top 4 weapons sellers in the world.
Recep Tayyip Erdogan was re-elected as Turkey's president in a historic runoff on Sunday, extending his rule into a third decade with 52.14% of the vote. His victory defies predictions by polls and analysts that suggested he could be beaten by opposition leader Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, who was just 4 percentage points behind. The election took place against a backdrop of a cost of living crisis, hyperinflation and earthquakes in February that claimed over 50,000 lives. Erdogan had several advantages going into the elections, including control of 90% of the media in Turkey and strong bonds with religious conservatives. As he continues his tenure as the country's longest-serving leader, concerns have been raised about the potential erosion of human rights and free speech in Turkey in the coming years. While congratulations poured in from world leaders following his win, including the first message from Russian President Vladimir Putin, the trajectory of Turkey's foreign policy remains a point of interest. Given Erdogan's previous refusal to ostracize the Kremlin after its invasion of Ukraine, it is likely that Turkey will continue its drift towards neutralism and an independent foreign policy by balancing close ties with both Russia and NATO allies. The White House has been urging Erdogan to approve NATO membership for Sweden, while French President Emmanuel Macron remains concerned about migration to the European Union and hopes to obtain assurances from Erdogan soon. Thailand's economy is on a solid recovery path, helped by increased revenue and supported by the tourism sector. Headline inflation, meanwhile, is expected to come below 3% this year. According to its finance minister, Arkom Terpintayapaisit, Thailand's economy expanded faster than expected in the first quarter of the year due to a revival in its vital tourism sector. However, Arkom said he could not tell whether there would be a reduced need for raising the country's interest rates. According to a Reuters poll, the Bank of Thailand is expected to raise its key interest rate by 25 basis points on Wednesday and hold it at that level for the rest of 2023 and 2024. Over in China, female giant panda Yaya has returned to the Beijing Zoo after being quarantined in Shanghai. According to the National Forestry and Grassland Administration, the panda's health is now in stable condition amid widespread concern about its welfare.
Yaya was born on August 3, 2000 in Beijing. She and fellow giant panda Lele arrived at the Memphis Zoo in the United States in 2003 as part of a 20-year loan. Lele had died of heart disease in February, ahead of the pair's scheduled return to China. Earlier in the year, allegations of neglect and abuse had circulated on social media, accompanied by pictures of Yaya with patchy and discolored fur. In response, the Memphis Zoo said Yaya lived with a chronic skin and fur condition related to her immune system, and that the zoo had been sending monthly reports to the Chinese Association of Zoological Gardens.
That wraps up AWANI Tonight. I'm Cynthia Ng. Thank you for watching and good night.